Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Because your first, the first book, obviously, I fell in love with you over with Plot to Hack America about, Trump colluding with a foreign power to get illegally installed in the first place with Russia.
Right.
Tristan Snell, our legal lad, said Trump usually spends the summer in Bedminster, New Jersey, yet he met with Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago. Why? Because he knew it was a violation of the Logan Act and wanted to avoid being prosecuted by the feds in New Jersey, whereas in Florida, he can draw Eileen Cannon again. I mean, he is, as you have always said, he is a traitor. God knows what he's cooking up with Netanyahu and Putin for this election this time, right?
That's not a joke. What you are watching is the march of the autocrats. I wrote about that in Plot to Destroy Democracy. The axis of autocrats. And now we're finding out that one of our closest allies is being run by a guy, Netanyahu, who understands that going with the American far hard MAGA right allows him to do anything that he wants. I was in Israel. He does not have majority support in there for most things that he want to do. He does only on the military activity. But you cannot allow your friends and your allies to go crazy because they have, their own version of Hannibal Lecter sitting on their shoulder telling them, do what you want. We'll turn the place we'll go work with the Saudis and the Emiratis and turn Gaza into a beach resort for the uber rich Arabs. No, American as Democrats, as people who support Israel, to people who support the Palestinian people, we are for the human rights of both sides.
That's right.
But you know what we can't do? We cannot allow America to become a dictatorship to where we'll never get this back.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
Malcolm, it is. I keep saying it's hard when you do talk radio to put into words what is happening in this country and what has happened in the last week. You were talking about the challenge of writing your Substack, where you're like, "Oh my God,"
I can't. I've got 4 pending. 4 because, see, I'm not the kind of guy that can get one out in a matter of like 4 hours. I've got to take a day. It's got to be edited. I've got to check the spelling and everything. Every time I start writing about something, started writing about the assassination attempt, started writing about, Joe Biden, passes the torch, started writing about Harris, managed to get that one off, then I started writing one about Israel and Iran, and now last night, that goes crazy.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to write something before the Stephanie Miller Show, on Sexy Liberal on Saturday, where me and Ellie Mistal and, Dr. Irwin are all going to be schmoozing with you guys.
Yeah.
So it ought to be fun. Everyone must show up. If you're in the tri-state area or like the guy flying in from Dallas,
There you go.
show up.
I mean, by the way, you're, you always talk about Philadelphia, right? Is this new poll? I mean, Kamala Harris is beating Trump by 4 points in Pennsylvania already, right? 47-43. She's pulled ahead in all the swing states. I know we keep saying don't get happy, polling sometimes this or that, but good God, did you see any of that rally yesterday in Atlanta with 10,000 people?
Yeah, talk about the the Obama excitement. During that period of time, I was overseas living in the Middle East. And so I wasn't really feeling it as much as I did after he won. Of course, I was voting from abroad.
Right.
And I do a lot of work with Democrats abroad to get people overseas
I
voting.
was going to say which broad, but that'd be a dirty joke. That's
all them broads. The broad in Berlin and Denmark, all the Democrats abroad.
Yes, go ahead.
And the guys-ocrats abroad. So, look, but now, after the announcement was made and after listening to her first speech with the not going back chant, she is enjoying this game.
She's a happy she's a joyful warrior. That's what we haven't had in a while.
Warrior.
She's loving this.
Yes. Not only that, she knows. You can tell by the way she talks. She knows she can beat him at this game. Though here's one of the problems that we have, which is the news media, of which I was a part for 7 years. Just today they were saying, well, her balloon's going to deflate. She's going to have to come down and start engaging in policy. They've never engaged in policy, not one time in 8 years, except to gleefully say, They would have the largest mass deportation in American history, that they would challenge the Nazis for the number of people that they would deport out of there. That's their hatred agenda is what they think is policy. And now when she brought forth, and everyone else is bringing up Project 2020,
25.
Project 2025, and you realize how horrible that document is. I mean, it is I think I called it about 4 weeks ago, the handbook for neo-Naziing America.
Yeah.
It is literally a manual for dictatorship and how to thrust government to become a weapon system of Donald Trump personally.
Yeah.
And so, Kamala Harris was like, oh, I'm going to take that on, to the point where Donald Trump 2 days ago ran from Project 2025. But no, it's the albatross, the 20-ton albatross we're going to throw around his neck. And he and, J.D. Vance will just have to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, I know, I agree with you. It's like, I think the enthusiasm's only growing. It's just, I think the nice thing is nobody cares anymore what the pundits say. It's like, oh, really? The honeymoon's over? Oh, really? The enthusiasm's, it's like, no, it's not. Somebody tweeted, they said, our Project 2024 is making sure Project 2025 never happens. And there's that energy, there's that Obama energy, there's the, what happened to Hillary in 2016 energy, post-Roe energy. It is literally, I think, a perfect storm. You retweeted Keith Boykin, because I was just looking at, the big meme was, oh, all black men are going to vote for Trump. Remember, that was like the big, Keith said they called her a DEI candidate, and as a black man, I can't let no white man talk about no sister like that. Representative Terry Anderson of the Missionary Baptist Church in Houston had a sermon to preach this week. The polling I just saw yesterday, it's like, nope, black men and black women are very largely behind Kamala Harris.
And and this is why the excitement is going to build for her. It will not slack off until election day. And what's going to happen is you're going to have this ginormous explosion of early voting and registering. And people are doing this right now. They're getting the registrations in. But what black men have also understood, it isn't the fact that she's an African-American woman or a mixed-race woman. The fact is, they have a chance to know that their vote will be truly historic on every level. You guys know I'm from Philadelphia. I take history very seriously. I can literally feel the vibe from 248 years ago when I sit downtown near Independence Hall or see the Liberty Bell. People can feel this. America is going for a change which, if done right, not only will we save democracy, and this is what her campaign has said, we're not only going to save democracy, we're not only going to make the first female president of the United States, we are going to change the absolute direction of America away from dictatorship and reject it wholly. Because, let me tell you, there is no voting just for president. You must vote for the president. You must vote for your senator. You must vote for your representative, the dog catcher. Everyone who is a Democrat must wave the Republicans out of the House, out of the Senate, and absolutely get them nowhere near the White House. And be sure of it, they're going to cheat. They're already
I was just going to say that. And yes, all things are possible if we get her the House and the Senate as well. To your point, Malcolm, I was just about to say this to you. Randy Mayhem Singer said the MAGA GOP is planning to game this election. They've got judges, Secretary of State, all kinds of complicit criminals lined up to help them do what they couldn't on January 6th. That's how big our win needs to be. Kimberly Johnson, as Maddow said last night, there are election deniers in place to certify the election in swing states. If the margins are slim, they will not certify, and the challenges will go to SCOTUS. We know what they'll do. Vote in numbers too big to rig. We have to unite. That is I get the Master Chief's orders, I guess.
Don't forget their plan is to throw this to the House of Representatives, which is under Republican control, where they will personally choose Trump, the elector. He could lose by 15 million votes. They will choose him. And then what we're going to have is what's happening in Venezuela, which is people in the streets, people rejecting government, and they are ready for that too. I warn you all the time. that your most lethal weapon we have is your vote, not just your mouth, not just your ballot, but your ability to convince other people who have been reticent, other people who have never voted, other people who think that, well, maybe Trump's not so bad. He is a disgrace, and you have to speak in terms of disgrace, dishonor, and do you want your children to grow up in an America where they have less rights than your mother and your father? And that's the game we have to fight.
And you talk about all the time, obviously, how important this is worldwide. You just referenced it, but the Hamas leader was killed yesterday in the Iranian capital. Obviously, there's concerns this will push Iran and Israel into direct conflict. But I saw the best meme, Malcolm, and I know you stand behind this on I don't know if it was on Twitter, but it just said, the Palestinians must be freed from Hamas, Israel must be freed from Netanyahu, Ukraine must be freed from Russia, and America must free itself of Trump and fascism, and that's
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is right there. You are looking at the geopolitical set that will determine, to be quite honest, I've got people, I'm speaking now to my Israeli American Jewish brothers and sisters. Many of them are on Twitter saying this, we need Trump in office so Netanyahu can finish the job and do what he wants.
Oy.
Look, sometimes your best friends need to talk to you like a best friend and not need to talk to encourage your silliness. America's a great ally of Israel. I've been there on and off my entire life, so that we can make them the democracy that they are.
Yeah.
We can't allow them to descend into dictatorship out of hatred and revenge. Look, U.S. servicemen and women may be going into combat this week. If Iran goes after Israel again with ballistic missiles, which means we'll be flying over Iraq, Syria, maybe even along the Iranian coast, America must not descend into dictatorship.
I may be floating on a euphoria, but I believe all things are possible right now. I think we feel a whole new sense of hope. If all of those things happen that I just said in that meme, I think we could get to a two-state solution with a President Kamala Harris.
We will, Steffi. We will roll back this wave of authoritarianism that's been taking over the world.